Hello, you beautiful people, and welcome to a brand new episode of Jim's Multimedia Musings. For this episode, I'm going to take a break from telling you about which series you should stream on Netflix before they're gone, and instead, I'm going to give you a movie review of a film that is still, to the best of my knowledge, in theaters. I'm talking about the action comedy fantasy Everything, Everywhere, All at Once from the demented but utterly brilliant minds of Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, collectively known as the Daniels, and starring the incomparable Michelle Yeoh. Now, as some of you may have heard from my previous videos, this is a movie that I have wanted to see for quite some time, at least for all of 2022. And well, I'm going to be frank, it's the best movie I've seen all year. And yes, I am including Spider-Man No Way Home among that list of movies. No, this movie, it's utterly brilliant. Okay, it's everything that it's completely spaced out trailer promised it would be. It's wacky, it's action-packed, it's funny. And you know what? It's moving. I mean, it just seems like an excuse to get all chop socky. But no, it actually has quite a bit of things to say. Anyway, brief synopsis. The movie is the story of Evelyn Kwan, played by Yeoh, a middle-aged Chinese immigrant struggling to make ends meet in America. She runs a laundromat with her husband, Wayman Wang, played by Ke Huy Quan, whose story is just amazing. I'll tell you about it a little later. She lives with her husband, and she's being visited by her father when the movie starts. Her father, played by the similarly amazing James Hong, who seems to have been in Hollywood for as long as I've been watching movies, if not much longer. And she also has a frosty relationship with her daughter Joy, played by Stephanie Hsu. As if that wasn't enough trouble, her ailing laundromat is about to get audited by the IRS, in particular by a very curmudgeonly lady played with fantastic aplomb by Jamie Lee Curtis, of all people. So, seems pretty mundane, right? Well, here she is, Evelyn and her husband, about to face off against the IRS when she receives a visitor with none other than Waymond from what appears to be another universe. Basically, he possesses her husband and tells her that she is the key to saving the multiverse. And from that point on, it gets ridiculously convoluted, but in a good way. And there is basically no point in sharing a synopsis beyond that, because that is where the fun starts. Okay? So, like I said, this movie was billed as some kind of art house action comedy. But the beauty of it is, okay, is that it takes a concept that's kind of been beaten to death lately, especially by Marvel, the multiverse, and it does something incredibly intelligent and heartfelt with it. Now, okay, I am a lifelong Marvel fan, and I was one of the people who cheered the loudest when the Marvel Cinematic Universe started conquering, the cinemas and started breaking all kinds of records and all of that. So I am not one of the bandwagon of Marvel bashers that you will see on YouTube or anywhere else for that matter. I am a Marvel lover. That said, I am not a fan of how Marvel has handled this concept called the multiverse. Okay, after giving us a kind of clean explanation about how alternate timelines work in Avengers Endgame, they've kind of gone all over the place with Spider-Man No Way Home, with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, with What If. It's gotten kind of messy, and even though they almost made a decent follow-up to the multiverse concept with Loki, that concept appears for the time being to have been abandoned, and it appears that the multiverse is basically one big plot device to justify whatever the filmmaker at hand feels like doing. I mean, I want to give him more credit, but after what I've seen so far, that's how it feels. Anyway, how is that relevant to this movie? The Kwans, no, excuse me, the Daniels, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert know exactly what they're doing with the multiverse because they use it to fantastic effect in the storytelling. The multiverse in this film, Everything Everywhere All at Once, is defined by choices. The timelines branch off depending on what Evelyn has chosen to do with her life. And that makes the multiverse far less of a plot device and far more of an integral part of the storytelling. It's influenced by the character's decisions, by her choices in life. And it leads to some really fantastic sequences. You have action sequences, you have dance sequences, you have a noirish sequence where Michelle Yeoh, or where Evelyn is basically a Hong Kong movie star instead of a dowdy laundromat owner, and where she and her husband have this conversation in the rain and at night. The point being, this movie takes all of the tools it has at its disposal, whether it's kung fu, whether it's sci-fi, whether it's moody lighting, and uses it all to really fantastic effect. And it helps that all of these actors are firing on all cylinders, especially Michelle Yeoh. I love the fact that Michelle Yeoh is giving a career-defining performance well into her 50s. I mean, and this is an actor who's diversified considerably from the time she first appeared on the Hollywood scene as a Bond girl. I mean, she'd been kicking ass in Hong Kong cinema for quite some time before that. But it was only, to be fair, it was only in Hollywood that she really started, basically earning her stripes as a dramatic actress. And here, I'm so happy to say, here she manages to meld the two. She manages to bring together her martial arts prowess and her thespian chops. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that this movie is such a welcome thing because it presents the comeback of Ke Huy Quan, an actor, a very talented actor, as one can see from this film, who most audiences will probably remember as Indiana Jones's kid sidekick in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That's right, or the kid from the Goonies. I didn't watch the Goonies, so I don't know what his name was there. But the bottom line is that this guy has been out of the spotlight for years. I mean, after the 80s, he basically couldn't get work, and it wasn't for lack of trying. He did something else. I think he became a stunt director. But this movie finally brings him back to the screen, and I, for one, am really glad that the Daniels made that call, because I mean, this guy, he just completely, he kills it. He takes his role. He absolutely kills it. So yeah, this movie, okay, it's not perfect. I'll admit that much. It takes a little bit. It takes a little too long to get going. I mean, you have quite a bit of exposition where the Daniels established that the Daniels established that Evelyn's in a bad place, that that she's in trouble with the IRS, etc., etc., etc. And that takes a little too long. It takes a little longer than it should. But when it gets going, it never stops, and that is a very, very, very good thing. And okay, I want to apologize as I wrap this video up. I want to apologize profusely to my viewers in the Philippines. Quite frankly, I should have reviewed this sooner, because as of recording, this movie has been chased out of theaters by Thor: Love and Thunder. And this movie is far, far superior to that. Okay, so I apologize that I didn't get this review to you sooner, but I really, really hope that you check this movie out. And my viewers, anywhere else, wherever you are, if this movie is in a theater near you, go and check it out, please. Okay, so how do I rate this movie after basically gushing about it for the length of the video? Well, I give it a 9.5 out of 10. That zero point 0.5 being docked solely because of the kind of lengthy build-up. But trust me, this movie is completely worth your time. It's worth the 2 hours and 20 minutes running time. All right? So I sincerely and wholeheartedly recommend that you check this movie out.